Right now, somewhere in your kitchen, there is probably a potato, boiled, fried, mashed, turned into chips, or piled next to a curry. It is so ordinary that you probably don't think about it at all. But the real story is far stranger, because the first time a human ever tried to eat one, it very nearly wasn't food. It was a gamble, a test, a decision made by a hungry man staring at something pulled straight out of the dirt, with absolutely no idea whether it would nourish him or kill him. You are about to find out what happened the very first time your ancestors met the potato. Picture him. Somewhere in the high mountains of what is now South America, thousands of years ago, a man digs into the cold earth and pulls out something strange, small, lumpy, covered in soil. Not a fruit hanging from a branch, not a leaf he recognizes, just a hard dirt-covered lump sitting quietly underground, as if the earth had been hiding it on purpose. He turns it over in his hands. What is it? He brings it close and smells it. Nothing dangerous registers, at least not obviously. He takes a small bite, chews for a moment, then stops. A cold thought crosses his mind. The same thought that has kept his ancestors alive for generations. What if this is poison? He throws it aside, but hunger does not care about caution. His stomach growls loud and insistent, and he looks around at the empty landscape, at the thin mountain air, at how little else there is to eat up here. And slowly, reluctantly, he says to himself, maybe I have no choice. Maybe I have to eat it anyway. He walks back toward the spot where he threw it. It's lying there in the dirt, half buried again, coated in soil. He picks it up and presses it between his fingers. Hard, heavy, almost like a stone. But stones cannot be eaten. This is something else entirely. He bites down, just a small piece this time. Bitterness spreads across his tongue immediately, sharp and unpleasant, and his face twists. It does not taste good, but it also doesn't taste like poison. Not the burning, choking sensation he associates with danger. He chews slowly, pauses, chews again. His body waits. No pain, no burning, just bitterness. Eventually he swallows the rest. Night passes. He is still alive. The next morning he goes back to the same patch of ground. He digs again, and this time he doesn't find just one. He finds several. Small, knotted, hidden in the soil, as if the earth had been deliberately concealing them all along. He carries them back to his group. The others look at them with suspicion. Some refuse to eat, but hunger again proves stronger than fear. Some people get sick. Stomach pain, vomiting, weakness. This strange food, it turns out, was not safe every single time. Imagine being part of that group, watching someone double over in pain after eating the very thing you were just handed to try. Would you eat it anyway, or would you decide right then that this strange lumpy object simply wasn't worth the risk? For some of them, the answer was no. They avoided it entirely, choosing hunger over uncertainty. But for others, especially in regions where food was scarce and the mountain air made almost nothing grow easily, the calculation was different. A little risk was better than a slow, certain starvation. And this is where a new question begins to form, one that would take thousands of years to fully answer. How do you eat something like this without it hurting you? This wasn't a question anyone could answer quickly. There was no way to test for poison scientifically, no way to measure toxicity, no laboratory, no textbook passed between generations. All they had was trial, memory, and the slow, painful process of watching what happened to the people around them. If someone ate a certain kind of tuber and grew violently ill, that knowledge got remembered. If someone ate a different one and felt fine, that got remembered too. Bit by bit, mistake by mistake, a kind of unwritten knowledge began to form, long before anyone had a word for chemistry. Thousands of years later, scientists finally found the answer. Wild potatoes contain a natural toxin called glycoalkaloids, a defense mechanism the plant developed to protect itself from insects and animals. Raw or undercooked potatoes carry significantly more of this toxin than a properly prepared one. The bitterness those early foragers tasted wasn't random. It was the plant's own chemical warning system, but the ancient peoples of the Andes, the ancestors of people living today in Peru and Bolivia, found a remarkably clever solution to this problem. Long before anyone understood the word toxin, they used a specific kind of clay known as Chaco clay. They would dip the potato into this clay before eating it. The clay, it turns out, binds to the toxic compounds, essentially trapping them before they can be absorbed into the body. Archaeologist Christine Hastorf, who has spent much of her career studying ancient diets in the Andes, has pointed out that this practice, this exact combination of clay and potato, persisted for centuries across Andean communities. Clay and potato eaten together in a single bite, a technique refined and passed down long before any laboratory could explain why it worked. Time moved forward. Slowly, generation after generation, people began to notice something else. Some potato plants simply tasted less bitter than others. They didn't fully understand why. They just noticed the difference and they acted on it. They saved the seeds from the mildest, least bitter plants and planted those again the following season. Then they saved the seeds from that next generation, choosing the mildest ones once more. And they did it again. And again. This wasn't a single decision made in a single day. This was patience stretched across thousands of years. Generation after generation, slightly less bitterness, slightly better flavor, one small improvement layered on top of the last, until the plant itself had been quietly, gradually reshaped. Think about what that actually required. Nobody involved in this process understood genetics. Nobody knew what a gene was, or how traits passed from one generation of plants to the next. And yet, without any of that knowledge, they were doing something remarkably close to what modern plant breeders do today, just far more slowly, guided purely by taste, observation, and an enormous amount of patience most of us can barely imagine. A single lifetime wasn't nearly enough to see the full transformation. It took the accumulated attention of dozens, maybe hundreds of generations, each one inheriting slightly better potatoes than the last, each one passing that same careful habit down to their children. Geneticist David Spooner has traced the genetic lineage of nearly every potato variety alive today back to a specific region, the area surrounding Lake Titicaca in Peru. That exact stretch of land is where someone, thousands of years ago, first stared at a strange, hard object pulled from the ground and decided cautiously, fearfully, to take a bite. By the time European explorers first encountered the potato centuries later, Andean farmers had already developed an astonishing range of varieties suited to different altitudes, different soils, different growing seasons. Some historians estimate thousands of distinct types once existed across the region, a level of diversity that took millennia of careful, unglamorous work to achieve, all of it beginning with that first frightened bite. Today, that same object is everywhere on Earth. It's in French fries outside a stadium. It's simmered into a curry halfway across the world. It's sliced thin and fried into chips, mashed with butter, roasted whole, boiled into a stew. It is, by some measures, one of the most widely eaten foods on the entire planet. But all of it, every single version of it, traces back to one specific moment. A frightened, hungry man, standing in the cold mountain air, holding something he didn't understand, terrified it might kill him, and choosing to take a small bite anyway. Think about that the next time you eat something new, something unfamiliar, maybe at a restaurant, maybe on a trip somewhere far from home. There's a small, quiet hesitation before that first bite, isn't there? A flicker of the exact same instinct that ancient man felt thousands of years ago, staring at a lump of dirt-covered flesh with absolutely no idea what it would do to him. That hesitation never really left you. It's built in. It's ancient. It's the same cautious pause that once meant the difference between survival and poison. And here, maybe, is the real lesson buried underneath this entire story. Some of civilization's greatest breakthroughs did not happen in a laboratory, or a palace, or a place of great wealth and comfort. Sometimes, the greatest discoveries in human history were made by an empty stomach, forced to decide in a single terrifying moment whether or not to trust something the Earth had been quietly hiding all along.